Meditation and Spiritual Life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Change of attitude towards the world. This naturally means a revision of our ideas about ourselves and the other people. We should do some rethinking on our relationship with others. For example, you are attached to your, let's say, pet cat. Something happens to the cat. Your mind goes into, I may call it depression or extreme sadness. Then our sadhana, our processes stop. And if it continues for a day or two, the habit, to get back the habit of doing sadhana becomes very tough. That's the practicality of it. So, we should do some rethinking on our relationship with others. Spiritual life must bring a change of our outlook on the world. If it is not happening, then lots and lots of hurdles and progress will never happen. Constantly, something or other will keep on cropping up. So, those who are bound by family ties should sublimate the existing relationships. If other people don't understand your attitude or do not like it, mm, that is no reason why you should dance to that tune. So, sublimating the existing relationships, mm, I think what it indicates is excessive attachment to those relations, the people and things that should be sublimated by constantly rethinking on our relationships. Otherwise, it's going to tie me very strongly down. If there is no bilateral agreement regarding spiritual life, you have to take a unilateral decision in this matter. Bilateral never happens. So, more often than not, unilateral decision, which is painful, has to be taken. You must, but is it depressing? Yes, if the goal is not clear, if we are doing all these things out of frustration from the world, running away, escaping, then it is. But if maturity comes after struggle, then these things become fruitful. So, ups and downs beginning is normal. You must learn to establish, so, must learn to. So, learning happens through mistakes, through failures. In one day, it will not happen. It takes time. You must learn to establish relationship with others through the divine. Now, suppose something happens to your pet. How do you establish relationship with the pet through the divine? We can, rethink the relationship and tell ourselves that that pet was God's creation. I was serving God through that. So, if the pet is gone, my service ends there. God will again give me an opportunity to serve Him in some other fashion. In the meantime, um, let me continue serving Him through my bhajan, kirtan, nama japa, studying about Him, doing my nitya karmas and offering all the fruits to Him. So, This rethinking, this change of attitude towards the world is needed. You must learn to establish relationship with others through the divine. Once you accept the spiritual ideal, you must make it shine in all your attitudes and relationships. Now, this accepting the spiritual ideal is not uh, just a single step acceptance. It takes time, trial and error, failures, struggles is there. So, but once you accept, then you must make it shine in all your attitudes and relationships. So that's the next step. Rethinking, restructuring the uh, past patterns. Two dangers are to be avoided in spiritual life. One is to love a human form with human love and falsely calling it divine. So, um, if I have a pet cat, hmm, the love, human love for that cat and falsely calling it divine, that's a danger. So we have to rethink the how. Simple enough. Serving the Lord through that avenue. Then the other is to become too indifferent to even the right feeling and become intensely selfish. Major danger, again, this one. Uh, Normally, the compassion, the respect, and concern that I should have in my dealings through some mental gymnastics, if I become, if I force myself to become indifferent, or out of intense selfishness, I camouflage myself and call it spiritual indifference, vairagya, that's a major danger. Because it's very logical that vairagya, dispassion, is different from indifference to even the right feeling of concern, care, support, love. Both are harmful to spiritual life because the second one, especially, is based on falsehood. It is not vairagya. And again, the first one, again, another camouflage. Very dangerous. Generally, in the beginning, this camouflage is not so apparent. Confusion is there. We think that is right, that is the way, but no. So, in order to love and serve others in the proper way, we should try to reflect the glory of the divine in our life. Then, silence will be more eloquent than emotional expressions. And if speaking becomes necessary, that too will become helpful and effective. So, this statement is a very high state, so to say. Silence becomes more potent than. So, your silence, you are actually not silent, you are prayerful. Your mere presence is more eloquent, more forceful than any emotional expressions. And if speaking becomes necessary, it comes out like a siddha mantra. It becomes so effective and helpful. All relationships with others should be established through the divine. This restructuring of the mind. All relationships. So, sitting quietly and reflecting is the way. next way. It is possible to be loving, kind, and considerate towards others without getting attached to them. How? Seeing them as the products or um, part and glory of the divine, and not mine. So, me and mine, when it reduces through vichara, purity comes. All depends upon our change of attitude towards others. Spiritual life should bring about a change of our outlook on God and the world. But this is possible only when it brings about a change of our outlook on ourselves. So, so this is the most important point to grasp in spiritual life. Unless a person starts regarding himself as the soul, the self, separate from body and mind, he has not even begun his spiritual life. Our old images about ourselves must be replaced by a new self image. This is not superimposing or hypnotizing the self, it is actually dehypnotizing. This change of outlook on ourself is what distinguishes a true spiritual aspirant from the average so called religious people. Average so called religious people, what it indicates is, okay, I'm doing puja, I'm doing sadhana, I'm doing mantra. The external paraphernalia, I'm going to temple, putting tilak, chanting. So I have a very disciplined and routine life. But if we miss the fundamental, and that is changing my outlook through vichara, then I remain average so-called religious person. At first, when the change takes place, the aspirant may not have any clear idea of what the soul really means. Whatever his conception, it is enough if he regards it as something separate from the body and mind and identifies himself with it. There is a true story of a Chinese who had been imprisoned for 60 years. On the coronation of the new emperor, he was released. But he exclaimed as he came out, I cannot bear so much light. I cannot bear so much freedom. So, at his own request, he was sent back to the dungeon. Something similar to this happens in our case. We are so much accustomed to our ignorance and suffering that we do not want a new life. We are so much accustomed to the darkened image of our ego that we cannot bear the brilliant light of our true self. If some of us are not sick enough to be sent to a lunatic asylum, we still suffer from nervous troubles and lead divided lives. Before it is too late, let us learn how to take care of ourselves, how to realize the ideal of a good life. Dr. Young, the famous Carl Jung psychiatrist, has made a significant remark. About a third of my cases are suffering from no clinically definable neurosis, but from the senselessness and emptiness of their lives. So they do not have a goal and a purpose. Purposeless living makes this malady. I think, I don't know, maybe modern scientists now have identified that purposelessness is also a clinical issue. Anyhow, mm, it is this urge to realize a higher ideal, urge to realize mumukshuttam, urge to realize the higher ideal that lies at the back of modern man's search for meaning. Einstein's Einstein's theory of relativity Max Planck's quantum theory, the discovery of radioactivity, and of the existence of a vast number of galaxies, Darwin's theory of evolution, Freud's researches into the human unconscious, and other developments of modern science have shattered the fixity of human values. What was formerly thought to be clear and definite has become transient and unknown. The two world wars and other social changes have made morality a relative concept. This sense of transience of values and worthlessness of human life is reflected in modern art, literature, and philosophy.